Right now, many companies letting people go, whilst fewer people are changing jobs. On the surface, things look stable. People stay, roles remain filled, movement slows down.
And in this situation, there's a term that has reappeared, quiet quitting. And it gives the name to something that leaders are already sensing. And not people leaving, but even worse, it's when people rethink how much they give and where they draw the line, and they stay where they are.
Yes, and that's really important because when the market tightens, people stay where they are. Leaders have fewer signals actually to work with. Quiet quitting.
Exactly. And today we're joined by Lewis. He's the founder and CEO of Bentley Lewis, a global executive search and talent advisory firm. And he speaks every day to companies and to candidates trying to make sense of what's changing.
Yes, absolutely. So we'll explore what he's hearing from both sides of the market, what candidates saying out loud, or maybe not so out loud, and also what they are not saying at all, and also what leaders may need to understand now before performance, trust, and momentum starts to drift.
Yeah. So Lewis, again, you're talking to companies, you're talking to candidates. So how would you describe the talent market right now? Because for me, it seems a little bit hectic.
It's fundamentally changing. It always feels like that when you're going through a moment, but this moment feels like crazy because the way people are earning and learning is completely changed.
But learning and earning.
Learning and earning.
Yeah.
It's either you're earning or you're learning, or hopefully you're doing both.
Both at the same time. That's ideal.
Right? But if you're not earning, hopefully you're learning something.
Yeah.
And other people are just earning and not learning and hugging onto their jobs and whatever. Yeah. But if you look at the whole like career path, it's just completely changed. Rungs of the ladder are coming out. So in the middle, a lot of big firms have been taking people out.
Yeah.
Interesting, if you ever look at the graph of Amazon's headcount, so you've got like humans kind of edging down and AI agents edging up. And soon enough, you'll end, like someone like Amazon will end up with probably 50-50 at humans and agents. Yeah. McKinsey are doing the same. Yeah, there's a tech conference in Vegas this week, CS. And one of the partners of McKinsey was on stage. And he was saying exactly that. If you look at McKinsey, amount of AI agents they're deploying versus humans, it's going to be. So anyway, so all of this kind of stuff, right? If you're an individual, and you're just like, oh my God. And if you can see that the job you're doing right now can easily be done by AI, like what do you do?
Yeah.
You know, if you're a grad early on in your career, and like when we were all like young, going to uni and stuff, right? The deal was like, go to university. You'll probably earn more money, get a good job, save, buy a flat, buy a house, retire, live happily ever after. That was the kind of deal, right? Yeah. The deal's broken now, right? Like you're not guaranteed to get a better job if you have a degree. In fact, there's there's a lot of data around actually you're earning about the same. And in the UK, it's really interesting. So the new living wage is just coming in.
Yes.
It's about 27k a year, something like that. If you get a grad job at PwC, it's about 30, just over. So by and large, like not too dissimilar, but you're coming out with a lot of debt, things like that. So all of that is changing. And then the fine thing on that is, again, like when we were growing up, right? High IQ generally meant you'd probably end up earning more money and getting a better job.
Yeah.
But with AI and things like that, that is kind of
dropping down
completely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And your EQ, your human skills and things like that.
And you talked about kind of like the middle layer has been taken out almost as well. And obviously you talk to candidates every day. Are people less ambitious, or are they simply also more careful and stay in their role just for security reasons because they don't get likely another job somewhere else? What is kind of like the drift?
Yeah, if you're like mid-career and you're a middle manager doing whatever job, and you'll see your colleagues like kind of get cut, the news headlines, everything, right? And they say like, what's the phrase? Psychology is more contagious than the flu.
Yeah.
You're reading everything, social media feed and news, you're like, oh my God, what's going on?
You're anxious, right?
Anxious, costs are going up, you've got a mortgage, you've got a family support. I mean,
bleak.
What are you going to do, right? But you can choose how you look at things. Because the other thing is actually so many opportunities It's when you're going through something, it feels heavy.
Yeah.
But I am a massive optimist.
Yeah.
And there's always opportunities if you care to look, right?
Yeah.
To retrain, learn new stuff.
Yeah.
Google have this really interesting platform called Google Skills. It used to cost a few £1,000s a year. They've now made it free. You can jump on and you can learn about AI, new stuff. If you take ownership of your career,
Yeah.
like be the CEO of your career,
Yeah.
and just go and continue to learn and try things and stuff. They're the people, the ones that can adapt like that will win. If you're like cowering, hugging onto your job, quiet quitting and stuff, it's just going to end up.
Very.
So there's hope and there's light in the end of the tunnel, and there are jobs out there.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, I very much think that new jobs will be created. I mean, if you think back to even when the internet started, so many jobs. I mean, like digital marketing, things like this, podcasting. There's so many jobs that were created, and it's very hard to imagine them at that moment.
Yeah, of course, because we don't have a crystal ball and look in the future, and we don't know what job now exists. So a lot of the time is we are sitting now and people are born now, or they come out of education and they apply for jobs that didn't exist 5 years ago.
Yeah. Like if
3 years ago.
LinkedIn just released the top 25 jobs. They do a UK version and a US one. And the top few is AI related, head of AI, this kind of stuff. Number 7 is founder. Loads of people are choosing, like you guys, like me, are not choosing the traditional, go get a job at a big company, follow the career ladder. A lot of people are choosing to start businesses. A lot of people are choosing interim careers. A lot of people can't afford to retire. So you end up doing like a little portfolio thing.
Fractional or portfolio careers.
Yeah. So it's really all changing a lot. So it is a really interesting moment.
Yeah. So that's from the company perspective and the candidate perspective. But how about from the leaders who are looking to find talents or to keep their talents? Like how can they understand the talent market better? And what should they look at besides kind of how many people apply for the job?
Well, in terms of measuring the thing. I mean, I think it's hard as a leader because leaders are humans too. And they're also in the same scenario.
Yeah.
They might be also nervous about whether their job's going to exist. All of this kind of stuff. You've also got pressure if you're a public company or private equity backed company, profit, all of this kind of stuff. So you're seeing a lot of teams reduce. As a leader, also there might be pressure to have AI agents and less humans. Also churn is good. If you've got like people hanging around in your team and they're not producing and it's not a bad thing for people to move around.
Yeah.
Some people are with some people are with a company maybe for life, others for a few seasons, like in sport.
Yeah.
So I think it's fine to move and flow and for people to come and for people to change. It's a hard one. It's a hard one.
Yeah. And like when you talk to candidates and when you talk to companies, do you see a lot of like quiet quitting? Like do you recognize it?
My friend a few years ago, and she works at home 5 days a week, so I don't know why I'm still got a job. I do no work and they can't say anything.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I mean, I think the most bought thing on Amazon over COVID was the mouse jiggler. To like keep the screen
being green. Put it in a what do they say, like this?
Keep your status green.
Yeah, like the kind of like if you're on like Google or Teams or whatever, and just that green thing saying, "Oh, she's there. She's at a job."
I put someone says like on a ventilator, so the mouse moves.
Yeah. So I think. I mean, it's a difficult moment, and a lot of people probably aren't working, but others are. Whether it's always been like that, you always get motivated people in life, and you always get people that just don't want to work and want to do the bare minimum. I think it's always the case, and the people that rise are the ones that go hard and work and go all in, things like that. Turn up on time, put your effort in, learn, all of that. So whether it's changed or not, it's hard to say. Maybe with people working at home, it's a little bit harder to measure. But even if someone's in the office sitting next to you behind their computer, it doesn't mean they're working.
No, exactly. They can mentally be disengaged.
So maybe it's easier for you as the leader, be like, okay, well, they're all in, great, and you don't know what someone's doing from home. So for me, like the mindset shifts and I went fully remote. So I used to have everyone in office, we're fully remote. So my mindset is now, I trust you off the bat. And then you have to measure performance and things like that. But previously, the kind of old philosophy was like, earn my trust.
Yeah.
And
But I
I'll
feel there's
trust you.
still something in there because there's a lot of people, a lot of companies that bring their people back into the office. And it's all under the disguise of working more collaborative together. But I feel sometimes it's about trust and not trusting.
Also, if you spent money on your real estate and you've
Yeah,
made it look really
exactly.
nice and you're spending loads on rent as you want people in,
Yeah.
there is a big thing like that. And in America, a lot of cities gave tax breaks to companies to build offices and warehouses and things. And over COVID, a lot of people left. And then the wider economy, coffee shops, restaurants, bars, all suffered.
Yeah. And that's why they want to get people
Yeah, so they're like, hold on a sec, you got a tax break, get your folks
back
back
them
in.
on the tube, on the trains, back
Yeah.
to the offices.
Yeah.
There's a big knock-on effect for people working at home.
Yeah.
You know, it used to be like in London, everyone was in 5 days, and the sandwich shops and the bars, and it was just like packed.
Yeah.
And where I used to live, like there's kind of a few shops and coffee shops and stuff, but not. And now it completely reversed.
Yeah.
So
That's interesting, actually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. It is. I don't think we still have figured out like the hybrid way of working.
Yeah.
And I do think when people work remotely, it is harder to kind of identify those quiet quitting signs as well.
Yeah.
but this is the skills you need to develop as a leader. The
Yeah.
other thing is like, I call it cultural fluency. If you're in a big company and you've got a remote team and they're all over the world, different cultures, religions, everything, then as a leader, you need to be very good at building relationships with these people,
Yeah.
collaborating. I think that's a skill that one needs to develop.
Yeah. And Camilla, one question as well. When you have someone who you realize actually they're quietly quitting or they are in the position where they feel disengaged, what should leaders actually do to help prevent that or reverse it?
So I think quiet quitting is not something that happens overnight, right? It's something that happens over time. It's an accumulation of not feeling not seen or not valued or not stretched. So I think a leader needs to address it with the person. You don't need to address it face on, but it's maybe you have a career conversation, understand what's motivating you, what's driving you, what do you want to do, and then try to be more clear on expectations. And follow up and make them feel seen and valued, right?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Why do you have someone that's just not motivated? They're just like,
That's the hard part.
they're rocking up bare minimum, they get the salary.
Yeah. But then as a leader, you will have to have the difficult conversation and say like, this is not longer working. However, a lot of leaders are not willing or don't want to have that difficult conversation and shy away from it. And that is when it becomes contagious.
And that's when you hire an AI agent instead of a human, because they work 24/7.
And you don't have
Do
to
they
have
call it
those
sick?
conversation. Yeah.
You don't have to have the difficult conversation. And quite a few leaders I speak to, they're kind of having that. I mean, there's this thing of like the younger generation are lazy, right? I mean, I don't think they all are, by the way. But what's interesting is that if you are hiring people and you've had an experience of a lot of people not working hard and being lazy, and you have another option,
It becomes very attractive suddenly.
why bother? Why bother training these people? Why bother going through it again? So that's what some people are talking about.
Yeah.
I was just going to ask kind of like, what attracts good candidates today? So you talk to a lot of candidates, like when they are looking into a different job, is it just money orientated or what are they looking out for, which we might not be aware of?
Yeah, I'd say money's there, but it's never the top. Although a lot of people are leaving the UK for the UAE to pay no tax.
Yeah.
That's a separate.
But no one wants to pay tax, right?
They all want to pay tax. But no, a lot of it's the human stuff. It's like, who am I working with? And that's always the biggest thing. People leave managers.
Yeah.
People join because they really, really get motivated and inspired by the person they're going to be working with. So a lot of people, like, the human aspect is key. And then obviously, like, are you doing deep and meaningful work? This back to learning and earning thing.
Yeah.
Like, what am I gonna learn? And you always think of it. I think of it as like chapters in your career. If I go to this firm, I stay 3 years, and I come and have a coffee with Camilla afterwards, and she'll, what have you learned? I can kind of give a good story. And I think for me, the career is like collecting experiences,
Yeah.
chapters. It's hard to long-term plan now,
Yeah.
but you can do, what am I going to get out of this?
Yeah.
And it could be money, it could be learning, a bit of a mixture. But as the leader and someone trying to attract talent, the human stuff is a big differentiator.
And it's good that you mentioned that leadership, but how quickly are they to pick up on poor leadership, on unclear roles, on unclear career paths before, or like a non-healthy culture before they join? Like, how much due diligence do they really do?
Maybe they go on TikTok, Glassdoor or something. The individuals or the leaders?
The individuals.
The individuals, yeah. So everyone goes online now, right? So they'll check out LinkedIn. It's like probably the number one place.
Yeah.
They'll look at the LinkedIn profile, maybe two folks in common, and they'll speak to people like, did you work with them? What were they like? But I'd say most people don't.
Yeah.
I would say most people don't, but you have to. Like this kind of due diligence.
Yeah.
And even like if you look at like the company side, like private equity firms, they do financial due diligence and human capital due diligence.
Yeah.
Who are the people? So you have to do that now.
Yeah.
But that's
That
kind
makes
of really good advice, though, to people like in a recruitment process for a job, but also for the leaders. So in the end, like if you're in the process, do your due diligence before you join. But as a leader, it's also your employees are your brand ambassadors, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And I would also say, like when you leave a company or when someone in your team leave a company, think about how that break is going to happen, because those people will be either advocates or people that actually talk behind your back badly. I was, for example, asked the other day about like, oh, you used to work at this company. Would you recommend me applying for that? And I was like, yeah, it's a great company, but at the moment I wouldn't apply. And these were my reasons. And it's you always need to think about kind of like how you're gonna leave with a company.
Yeah, definitely.
Or with an employee.
A lot.
That exit a conversation, understand why they're going, and make changes as well if it's like something fundamentally that you can change.
Yeah. But most leaders feel like so hard done by when someone quits.
Oh,
You're like, oh my God, I can't believe, and a lot they just like shun them.
Yeah.
Don't speak to them, out and stuff.
Yeah.
The good leaders will message the team, organize a nice dinner for you. Thank you so much for your help.
Yeah.
It means so much. All of this kind of stuff.
Come back when you've learned your lessons somewhere else.
Yeah.
Bring those experiences back to us.
100%. Leave gracefully, and let people leave gracefully.
Yeah.
Just be like
Yeah. I wouldn't be with Camilla in partnership if she would have not been such a great leader, because I was done with the corporate world and Camilla called me back and said like, do you want to come again and work with me? And this is kind of like how we ended up doing a chief CQC, basically.
Yeah. Now we're working together.
Yeah. And also like people might want to go back to the company.
Yeah. But if you burn all your bridges before you actually left in the first place, then
and also, by the way,
chance.
There's so many people I speak to get jobs through people they used to work with.
Oh yeah.
It's like we talked about it before we went on air. There's just so many, and if you burn your bridges, then it's long term. It's going to really
absolutely.
Yeah. And the world is so small today. You never know who knows someone who you know, or know someone who can open that door for you.
Yeah.
That's a little bit scary.
Yeah. I'm just something fun. I'm a big advocate for just having conversations with your team members, but not because you've got an agenda, just chit chat, what's going on. Because when the tough conversations come, you've already got the open lines of communication.
Yeah.
And those hard chats are much easier. And then actually someone will say to you, do you know what? I'm fed up with the corporate world. I think I need and it's a nice conversation. You give some advice, people move on, and then you might connect again in the future.
Yeah. But if you take kind of one step before that potential performance conversation, or kind of I want to leave conversation, like how about career conversations? Do you think like managers are skipping those in uncertain times?
Well, what's the average tenure now? 2.5 years?
Yeah.
Depending on which country you're in. So I think there are people, like individuals, they look to the companies to provide them with all learning opportunities and all this kind of stuff. But I think now actually as an individual, you need to be taking ownership of your own learning.
Oh yeah.
Don't like wait the company to provide
as
all
a
these
candidate, absolutely. And to be fair, the first company I ever worked for, they already had this slogan. I still have it, like own your own career. And throughout where I always been, like I don't want to be in a company where they tell me where to go next. And I've been in a company like it's not a nice place to be. You want to be able to have a manager that supports you and helps you find out what you really need. But then you are the one owning it.
Yeah.
You are the one kind of like, this is what I want to learn. This is where I want to go. these are the connection I need to make, and the manager can then help you make the connection if it's in their power and if they're not a network.
But just answer the question you asked me. As a leader, you'd want to help and develop your team for many reasons. It might be within for the company that you're in right now.
Yeah.
It might be for the place you go to in a few years, and they remember how nice their manager was. You know, you learn. Often it's like you learn the manager you work for could be more valuable than the actual job itself.
Absolutely.
And if you're like, you know, and also remember, if you're a leader, like you're moving from I to we, right? Like your job as a leader is to develop your team, make sure they're happy, all of these kind of things. And then the team does well, you do well. So I think as a default, a leader needs to have that mindset, whether someone's going to be with you for 2 years or 1 year.
Do you ask in interviews a question when you look for executive roles, how many leaders they have promoted?
The person I'm hiring?
Yeah.
No,
No.
I don't ask.
Because that might be quite an interesting question in terms of like, because I always think if this person is actually developing people and promoting into wider role or giving them away, it's advocate really of their leadership and how great they are in developing people.
Yeah, that's really good. For bigger companies, you can often see.
Yeah,
If
exactly.
you go onto the LinkedIn profiles of people working in the firm, if they've been promoted, how long they've been in jobs for, and things like that.
Brilliant.
It's a good way to look at.
Yeah.
But it's a given that that's something that the company values, right?
Yeah.
Meaning the culture values it, because you also have leaders who will have sharp elbows and will take the visibility or the recognition themselves.
Or they want to offset talent because it's also easy. I don't have to do a lot of work because I've got great people around me, and if I take them out, it's disrupted.
Exactly.
But also, even if you're joining a big firm, and you know, obviously you'll know this, but your experience is governed by the people you've worked with most closely. So someone might have an amazing experience at one particular company, but someone else might have a dreadful experience because their manager was just...
Yeah. You never leave a company, you always leave a manager.
Yeah.
That's what I say.
But I do want to get back to these career conversations because I think a lot of leaders are actually uncomfortable having them because people might not stay that long in a company, or because they don't know how to handle them, or they don't want to know the answer.
Or they feel they can't influence.
Exactly. So do you have any practical advice for these leaders on like how can they really just do it?
Do it, yeah. I think you should come from a almost servant leadership point of view, thinking like, how can I help you to advance your career? And just starting, as the more you do it, the easier it becomes. I think we created a guideline as well on how to have good career conversation that you will find actually in the show notes. But it's really taking the time, finding out what is the individual motivated by, understanding of where do they want to go, and they might not know yet where they want to go, but you can find that out by asking like, what do you enjoy most about your job currently? What do you not enjoy and wouldn't be mind getting rid of? Do you enjoy working in a team? Do you enjoy working more individually? Do you like problem solving? What are the skills that they're bringing? And then also, do they see themselves here in this position, in this company in 3-4 years, or do they see themselves somewhere else?
Yeah. And maybe both is fine. It's kind of back to that earning and learning that you talked about. It's kind of maybe we need to shift the conversation a little bit to what role do you want to do, to what do you want to learn?
Yeah.
And to your point, what type of environment do you want to be in? What are you enjoying?
Yeah.
But also, what about the leader is lost themselves? With all this stuff we've talked about, you know, things are coming at 100 miles an hour. Like you talk about 3-4 years, but even just like in 2026, I mean, look what's happened. I mean, it was the 13th, 14th of January. Look what's happened in the last, like the first bit of 2026.
Yeah.
Like craziness.
Yeah.
So it's quite hard. I think it's hard for a lot of leaders to give advice to people in their team if they also have just no idea what's...
But you know what? And I think this is also my point, is you don't have to give them advice necessarily. Sometimes you just need to be the listening ear or the coaching almost, that asking just a few thought-provoking questions that triggers your thinking, saying, oh, actually, I want to go in this direction rather than in this direction. You don't have to have all the answers, because in the end of the day, you are not responsible for their career as owning it.
No, but you do want to keep them for as long as you can, and you want them to thrive when they're there and deliver at their best. So So I want to go back to this quiet quitting thing. Like, what are the early signs that a leader can look for to identify that?
I mean, for me, like if you work, some people that are very quick at responding on Messenger, on email, however you're communicating. I think the first thing that goes is always like they take longer to respond.
Yeah.
Always. And you can kind of feel it a bit. Or they're like always turning up on team calls and suddenly they've missed a few. Or you can see they're not engaged.
They're quiet.
They're quiet.
Yeah.
They're a bit withdrawn.
Yeah.
You can kind of see it.
Yeah.
And then you might be like, is everything okay? Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. Taking more time off.
Not answering their phone.
Yeah.
Messaging. You can just feel, because I think, people just withdraw.
Yeah.
For whatever reason it might be, but they just, so if you've been kind of good at building relationships with folks, and you should be able to start to see, obviously
having a little bit of emotional intelligence as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I think that one is also an important one to build on more the behavioral things, because it's this emotional flatness. It's like there's no, like, it's not caring, but it's just more flat. There's no anger. There's no kind of
side. There's
no excitement.
I don't
kind
care
of
anymore.
the curve used to be like a little bit, and now it's just
Yeah. And also it might be, who knows what's going on in their life, right?
Yeah.
Like you never know. But the output was they're just with this withdrawnness. That's what I see.
Yeah.
And you can
it's almost empty eyes a little bit, isn't it?
Yeah, and sometimes people are just waiting for you to have the conversation. As the leader, they're like almost, without saying it, like, just ask me.
Yeah.
What's going on.
Exactly, because I think many people see it as a bad attitude, as a warning sign, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's easy to say, oh, they're just not motivated. Maybe some. But for a lot of people, I think they might just be depressed, or they just kind of hit a ceiling.
Doubt.
They've just missed it, or they want you to give them another project, or just something, So it is on you to take ownership as a leader and ask.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be confrontational.
But what do they do? So if you were to give kind of 3 practical things that a leader can do.
Yeah. So my first would be have conversations with people off the bat, or when they start, so you have open lines of communication. If you don't often speak with someone, it gets really hard.
Yeah.
Right. So if you're like friendly with someone, let's say, right, you got so I can come and I can say anything to you as long as I say it in the right way. So that kind of, for me, sets the whole scene.
Further down the line, it feels awkward when they suddenly start doing it, rather.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like, let's do, let's say we've just joined the team, and like, should we do like a weekly catch up, and you're like, what's your agenda? Like, no agenda, just, love to just 20 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever. Suddenly a year later, you're not turning up on calls, you feel a little bit. So I'm like, hey, what's going on? And I think you're more likely to then
get a response.
Yeah. And I would ask an open-ended question. So, how are you doing? What's going on? Not accusing
Not, are you okay?
Not making you sit defensive. Yeah, just like, how's it going? What's going on? And I think then the conversation starts to lead. Yeah. Now, if they're like, not responding and all this kind of stuff, and then, the performance is clearly dropped, and then you start to have to escalate the conversations. But I would hope if you've got the communication open and you're asking these questions, then it should come out of the conversation.
Yeah. Brilliant. Also good. To close, what change in mindset do leaders need right now when it comes to talent?
So attracting talent for their team.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think from, just to round it up, even from the beginning, the world is changing so quickly. So I think you have to be, as a leader, adaptable. Yeah. Also think clearly about the type of people you're hiring. That's also changing, obviously, depending on what job and what company and all these kind of things. And what skills you feel they need now and what they might need in the future. And for me, all of this human stuff, EQ, they say technical skills get outdated 2 years now or something. You two will know better than I, maybe even less than that. So people that can continually learn, develop, communicate, build relationships, they're the kind of folks I want to find.
Is it almost kind of like hire for attitude rather than for skills?
Yeah. I mean, obviously in some, whatever job you're, there'll be some baseline technical skills and knowledge you'll need. But for me, I would hire, the graph of will and skill.
Yeah.
Will and skill, Simon Sinek one.
Yeah.
You'd much rather someone with high will, medium skill than high skill, low will.
Absolutely.
Skills are easy to build if someone's motivated to do it, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. Excellent.
Yeah. And I think some like the changes that leaders need to do, and you mentioned this earlier, it's kind of, to give that trust instead of having them, need to earn it, but also to focus on the deliverables instead of presence.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So to do that, like you mentioned, the check-ins, being clear on priorities, following up,
Yeah.
and then allowing for emotions to be there.
Yeah. And just trusting people's big. I mean, if you do run a global remote team, I mean, you have to, otherwise it's mentally so tiring.
Yeah.
You're like, oh my
But
God,
you feel you don't have control over everyone.
yeah.
Can't.
You know,
It's it's definitely not possible, and you would enjoy work.
yeah.
And why have you hired them in the first place if you don't trust them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, you know, they agree what good looks like and success and all this kind of stuff. And then let them go do their thing and support them
Yeah.
and have regular conversations. And you kind of know if it's going well or not.
Yeah.
And they will too.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So we've covered the leaders. So to round off, one last question. If you're a talent looking for a job and you feel the market's a little bit bleak right now, any advice for them?
Well, it depends what industry you're in. So think if you're in an industry where you don't think it exists anymore, that's one thing. If your industry does exist, then 3 buckets of activity. Go speak to your network, professional network. Hopefully you've been good at that. LinkedIn's a wonderful place to do that, and go speak with people that you've worked with, you've left gracefully, all of that kind of stuff. Loads of people get jobs through that. Secondly, recruiters. Thirdly, jobs boards. And it's kind of in order of likelihood of landing a job.
Yeah.
The biggest thing now is personal brand.
Yeah.
So whatever you're doing, focus on building your personal brand. Again, you can do it on LinkedIn, like 5 people's comments, like 5 people's posts today, comment on 5 people's things. If you're happy doing content, you haven't got to do a podcast, but you can just build your personal brand, because that builds leverage and then demand, and you get more phone calls, you'll get approached more, all of that stuff. The number one thing I would do as anyone else is focus on building my personal brand in 26.
Yeah.
Biggest thing. If your job doesn't exist anymore and you look forward and you're like, oh my God, like AI is outsourcing it, then sit down, speak to some trusted people that you rely on, and think through like what skills you have, what you can transition to. Go contact people that are doing the job you want to do, learn about it.
Yeah. Learning.
And then try and start to move in that direction.
Yeah. Brilliant.
I love that. That is really practical advice. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Brilliant.
That's it for today's episode of The Leadership Effect. Subscribe, connect with us on LinkedIn, and you found the details in the show notes. And until next time,
Lead with curiosity
and courage.